let's discuss Shashi Tharoor's riot. Shashi Tharoor, an Indian writer, his story riot I am going to discuss now. This riot is a different kind of a novel when we compare it with other experiences of English novels because this collection of paper articles, letters, voice records, transcriptions, and like that. Shashi Tharoor is an Indian parliament, and also this novel is a production of his first-hand experience being a volunteer worker in one NGO. Anyway, the story begins with the death, flashback story. Death called Priscilla Hart, an American girl, dies in India in Salilga. That story is given in a paper article like this. First is the New York Journal. They say that American slain in India is New Delhi, India, October 1. A rioting mob attacked and killed an American woman in a town east of New Delhi yesterday. A few days before she was returned home, the US Embassy announced. Priscilla, the 24 years Manhattan, a volunteer with the non-governmental organization Help US, was beaten and stabbed to death in Salilgarh town in the state of Uttar Pradesh, where she had volunteered the skills as a public health worker, official said. Okay, that's the beginning of this novel. The heart is dead. Anyway, we first four or five, yes, first four chapters are dedicated to report that death in several, yes, paper articles. Uh, New York Journal, all New York Journal, yes, reports, and also the story ends with the fourth report of New York Journal paper. As I mentioned earlier, this is a different kind of novel since it is a collection of voice records and so many materials, not writers on narration. That means not a single narrator, it's a collection of stories. What's right here? Right, as we come to know that is a religious riot, Ram Janmabhoomi riot. Ram Janmabhoomi riot is the major story here. What the writer wants to say is a theme is also religious hatred, religious wrath. As a religion, the Hindu people here organizing riot, mean Ram Janmabhoomi riot. Actually, it is something done intentionally. We come to know that local politician Ramcharan Gupta, the representative, if not local leader for Indian Bharatiya Janata Party, okay, organizes this campaign, Ram Sila Pujan, in order to expedite his path to Parliament. We come to know that several times he contested the election, but he couldn't find a seat in the Parliament. Therefore, arrives in this religious riot is the yes way for him to approach that target. We come to know that he creates a story purposely for that. The subject matter for the Ram Sila Pujan, if not after that, the riot is also religious one. According to Ramcharan Gupta in Salilga, he says that in Ayodhya once there was a temple for God Ram called Ram Janmabhoomi Temple. Indians believe that in Ayodhya Ram was born. Then that temple was demolished by Muslim Emperor Babur in 16th century, and yes, he built Babri Masjid for that, right? That's the story. And now Gupta incites Hindu generation to take arms against that present Muslims, to demolish that mosque, and instead of that, they want to reverse the history and built a temple for Ram. But the professor of history in New Delhi University, Muhammad Sawa emphasizes that in the history of, yes, India, there was no such a temple in Ayodhya, and neither it was demolished by Babur. According to him, the story of Rama is not historical, it's legendary. And we come to know that Rama is a legendary story because for Sri Lanka also uh, it has a connection because Ravana was in Sri Lanka. In the hierarchy of kings of Sri Lanka, there is no one called Ravana. It's full of legend. Some historians can say various things, but as far as we know, it's just a myth, legend. Anyway, arising or inciting patriotism or religious love is one way to, yes, approach parliament. That means politicians commonly find religion as one easy path. That's what he also does. He purposely incite people. People also voluntarily gather to celebrate that. Young men are voluntarily gathered to certain places to bake brick and afterwards to transport them to a collection point in Salilga. Yes, on their shoulders in a pageant. They are also wearing, yes, saffron color uniform and like uniform, and they are shouting the slogan, right? Ram, Ram, and after that inciting Muslims also. We come to know that, in, according to the story, from the story we come to know that there is a short path from Salilghat to Ayodhya. If they actually wanted to transport those baked bricks, but instead of that, right, avoiding that part, they select a long journey across Muslim quarters, and yes, and making them angry, saying with the slogan saying, yes, pissing Muslims and fucking Muslims. So we come to know that these are the things that that uh, Hindu people, yes, plan purposely, right? That is the major riot that we find. Uh, Surrounding that right, there are many issues. Shashi Tharoor speaks of Indian life. We outsiders can get so many things about Indian life from him. From this one is that legendary beliefs of India. One belief according to this is the legend that is Ram. Right. The narrator also gives some interpretation regarding Ram. Now, Ram's wife Sita was kidnapped by Sri Lankan King Ravana, and afterwards, with this monkey army, after 20 years, Ram invaded Sri Lanka, assassinated, yes, Ravana, and brought Sita back to India. But according to this story, Sita was not chased because there was a rumor in Salil, I mean, that time that Sita was not chased because she lived with Ravana 20 years. Then she wanted to do that. First time she went through fire unscathed, but when the rumor repeated, she wanted herself to just engulf right in earth. And as we say, earth gave way and she went inside that, and afterwards Ram was isolated. Anyway, after his death, Ram became a god for them. These are legendary things. And what are the other areas the writer speaks of? The major is this. Anyway, why American one Priscilla went there? There are two types of love stories also we are told. One is Rudyard Hart and Nandini, and other is Priscilla Hart and V. Lakshman. V. Lakshman is the district magistrate. He is the Indian IAS officer. We come to know that becoming IAS officer in India is something tremendously difficult because more than 30,000 graduates annually sit for the exam, but 300 are selected, and only 25 out of them appointed as district magistrate. Here, V. Lakshman has been appointed Salilga the district magistrate to give orders to police to control riots. That means Salilga is a place often full of riots. That's why a separate district magistrate is appointed. When we think about Lakshman, We have to think now. According to Gupta, Lakshman is a Muslim lover. Actually, that doesn't happen. Lakshman is impartial. He doesn't want Muslim people to be killed by, yes, Hindu. As we know, after the riot, Hindu people raided their houses and killed them, raped the women, and also they destroyed their property. And Garinder Singh is the superintendent of police. He is ordered by Lakshman. Garinder Singh also worked to control the riot, and he arrested several Hindu assailants. But he is also criticized as a Muslim lover. What is there? This is, yes, racialism and also religious difference. Gupta's cunning trick has worked very well, and other devotees of Hindu have become victims of. Some Indians may be angry when I tell this, but nothing to do because this is what Shashi Tharoor speaks in his story. Right? Those who read the story very well may understand what the novelist want to say. Now, the two love stories are there. One is American male and Indian female, other one Indian male and American female. Priscilla, we come to know that she comes to Salilga in order to complete the dissertation work of New York University. She has selected the topic as population control, and she finds India the best place for work to do, since population control level is very low in India and there's a high population. She comes to know that every poor family there are so many children. Families are unaffordable. Parents are poor. Women are malnourished. Ne? They are not, yes, healthy enough to produce children as well as feed them. But they have so many children. Priscilla came to know that when she was in India in her age 13. Priscilla, Priscilla Hart, with her father, Rudyard Hart, had lived in India. We come to know that Rudyard was the marketing director to the Coca-Cola company, American company that was established here. That's also something uh, regarding that multinational company's existence of India. Coca-Cola is a multinational company, American company, but it was established in India, and also American sent their people to control that. During that time, Priscilla, her mother Catherine Hart, and two brothers lived in India. But because of mother finding her father's sexual affair with Indian woman called Nandini, mother decided to leave India and she left with the family. That memory still haunts in Priscilla's mind. How she saw her father and that ugly Indian woman nude on mother's marriage bed, and that memory still haunts in her mind, and he several times says that. But anyway, she returns India when she is 24 in order to complete that dissertation. What happens? She's killed there. She's assassinated 2 or 3 days before returning to New York. We come to know that she falls in love with that person, V. Lakshman, the district magistrate. And district magistrate Lakshman is also educated and married person. His wife is Geeta and daughter is Rekha. Despite there is a perfect family, he falls in love with this American girl. Priscilla finds an answer for her isolation through Lakshman, and later it falls into a serious affair. Then Lakshman, being the highest yes, government officer in Shalilga, falls into a childish behavior. He becomes immature to experience sex with Priscilla in that courtly palace. There is a traditional heritage that courtly palace of which the gate keys with Lakshman, since he is the high authoritative person in Salil. But anyway, he becomes childish and becomes blind in that love affair. He thinks that the outer world is not aware of his, and he every Friday and Tuesday he takes that girl there, right? It becomes his habitual actions, and I think we know all the people of Salilga come to know of this. The right also. shows immature behavior of such government officers because she's IAS and IAS officer. We can think that the story has been written through some real incident, right? Then Priscilla, who comes to work in US, help US NGO, later falls in love with that man and later he's assassinated. Behind the assassination, there is several suspects, but we can't tell quite correctly who does that. One time we find uh, district, sorry, this police superintendent Garinda Singh arriving Geeta's home, Lakshman's home, and telling Geeta that her husband is running illegal affair with a foreign woman and he's going to run away with her. And after that, she finds his diary and confirms that he has an affair. Lakshman thinks that Geeta is not aware of English, but she can manage it. She goes to Swamiji of her temple, right, and pleads Swamiji to do something to that woman. On several occasions, we find Swamiji at Shiva Mandir asking Geeta, a dedicated wife like you, have the right to ask for my support on any moment. Any moment, we can think that that Swamiji is also a corrupt person. He has a team of killers who are sent to, yes, murder person when someone enters the god for that. He also promises money for him, and later, after the death of this American girl Priscilla, she keeps her promises. She gives money to him. Therefore, writer speaks of some types of corruption in Shiva Mandir, that means Hindu temple in India. There are such things also happening. Therefore, we can think that Swamiji is also behind this. Other thing is Lakshman himself. Lakshman later finds a big problem with Priscilla because Priscilla forces him to marry her and go abroad. She says, right, then she, from several occasions, fights this person, quarrels with him, asking to run away with her. But Lakshman says, I don't want because I value my family and my life and my job and my country, everything. We come to know that he's an opportunist. What he wanted in Priscilla was only physical union, that carnal bliss only. Otherwise, he didn't want anything here. Therefore, we think that behind this murder case, there was also his hand. The other one we can say Garinda Singh. We can suspect because he uh, dignifies his friend, prestige. You want to protect friend also. Therefore, sometimes he other one McCann Singh, another person. We know Kadambari, Priscilla's helper, gives the leaks the tip to, yes, that person, a McKenzie, regarding Priscilla's affair, right? And therefore they come to know that Priscilla and Lakshman going to Kotli Palace every Friday and Saturday after 3 o'clock, when his own wife Geeta and daughter Rekha going to Shiva Mandir. Therefore we can, yes. Other one is Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali's wife, Fatima Bai. We come to know that Priscilla worked as a family planning consultant and one day visiting, yes, Fatima Bai's house. And Fatima Bai is given, yes, a packet of condoms to safeguard herself. That means as a family planning apparatus. After that, her wife attacks her. And also, Fatima Bai's husband, yes, Muhammad Ali, the chauffeur of municipal council, comes and attacks Priscilla, and later she threatens Kadambari, asking he will cut off her breast also. Then, therefore, we can suspect, but till the story ends, there is no information regarding the real killer. It's anyway the girl who comes to India to support India finally, yes, has to die. Yes. The other ironical thing is that she is a family planning consultant. She demonstrates that to ladies, Indian ladies, but finally she gets pregnant. She purposely gets herself pregnant from uh, yes, Lakshman, because she wants to have a daughter from him. When she thinks that she has a brown daughter like Rekha, yes, sometimes Lakshman will convince or agree with her intention, but anyway, that doesn't happen. After the post-mortem, it is revealed that she is pregnant. But the right also shows the cunningness of Indian rulers, authority to people, because they conceal that pregnancy and death. Soon after that, they cremate the dead body before parents arriving. Right, the authorities are obliged to, yes, keep the dead body till relatives are coming. Before that, cremate. Other thing is that is a Christian dead body. Dead body is Christian one. Christian bodies are not cremated; they are entombed. But without doing so, they cremate that. That's also one, yes, unfair thing here. Another type of riot we see is that love story. There are two love stories also. This riot, Priscilla's affair with Lakshman ends in a riot, and Priscilla's father, Rudyard Hard's with Indian woman Nandini. That's also ends in a riot. Another marriage riot is the Catherine Hart's and Rudyard Hart, Priscilla's parents. At the beginning, also, we come to know that Priscilla's parents are divorced. Divorced couple is coming. In that, also, we see male chauvinism with American man. There's a 2 year age gap. That means Catherine is elder than him, but that doesn't matter. Anyway, the love affair, marriage ended after his scandalous behavior. At the end of the story, they are again united because we find him apologizing to his wife, saying, Kathy, for the first time of life, I understood this like that. Okay. Then another type of colonization also the writer suggests here in addition to religious right. Why that there is a American NGO named Help US. American NGO is established in India to, yes, help people. Help mean is, yes, is initials of the NGO name. They wanted to control population in India. That is also another type of colonization. One time, Garinder Singh blames Priscilla Hart in English, saying, "One time, British people occupied India, and for the second time, you are coming," and that is indirect way of colonization. Is true. In addition to that, so many issues are there. The writer that this speaks one is economy. We come to know that Salil Bai is tremendously poverty-stricken place. People have no food. The roads are very dirty. Dirty shops are there. Even a beggar, the town is filled with beggars. Impoverished teachers are selling their students' papers also. Some people sell their organs and blood to live. Such a poverty-stricken background is there. The story Kadambari, the extensive work of Help US Embassy, that means Help US NGO, where the director is Shankar Das. Kadambari accompanies a hard couple to Salilga Hospital Women Ward to show her sister, yes, Sundari. Her sister Sundari is admitted because she was beaten by mother-in-law. The reason for mother-in-law to beat is that for the second time also she produced a girl. Right, when she was pregnant with the girl, mother resented it. His mother wanted her to produce boys. The writer also speaks the uh, riot. In that case, that is also domestic violence. Domestic violence to daughter-in-law from mother-in-law. Mother-in-law is described as a wicked character, right? And also the writer speaks of corruption through that even abortion clinic are functioning in those areas. Such things are there. Uh, the writer uses here another person. Yes, Muhammad Sawa. Muhammad Sawa is a professor. He is the professor of history in New Delhi University. He emphasizes that in the past in India, people were used to live unitedly. They didn't want to create problems, but the riot is also politicized. Behind that, there's a political hand, according to him. He emphasizes that in the past, before, yes, Pakistan was separated, the people lived, yes, with peace and harmony. Muhammad Asruddin, Indian batsman, right? And in, yes, there are local politics also who fought against India. They are Muslims, right? Uh, Priscilla writes everything in her scrapbook. She writes everything because she has no one. She writes everything to Sindhu Valeriani, her best friend in university. In that also we come to know that yes, there is a serious connection between Priscilla and Lakshman. That affair, sexual affair, is also described in a long story like a film. We are given so many ideas about that. Yes, okay. Uh, we come to know that he's an opportunist Lakshman. In that case, the writer shows me that there are so many opportunists in India like that. Yes, in the history that Muhammad Sawi speaks of history. In that history, we come to know that yes, this is purposely done, made done. What is this riot? Yes, other riot we see is cultural. In culture also there are so many things. Yes, writer speaks of that side also. In addition to poverty, religious violence, education of India is also given, and caste problem of India. According to Lakshman, in his school, there are more than 300 castes in India, and Brahmin is the yes high class. He gives example. One of his friends in university from Naga caste Naga, lowest caste, had a love affair with the girl from high class Brahmin, but her parents resented that and even threatened the boy, and it was stopped because boy being low caste. Later, boy became IAS officer in that area, girls division. After that, girl's father allowed that to uh, affair and both married, and even he boasted my IAS son. The writer shows caste system is something ignorant and is useless because when that person became high officer, that Brahmin father also agreed with that. And the writer also uses some fun and humor to this story also. We come to know that Priscilla had a vibrator with that mean male's sexual apparatus made of rubber. And in her bag it was the one time a robber snatches it and only police finds it because robber couldn't sell that. All the other things he has sold. So the writer through that produced humor because Indian police constables couldn't find out what it is. They couldn't identify. After that, yes, Shankar, police Garinda Singh, the superintendent operates it, and then policemen are laughing. Later they ask, "What's this?" He says, "This American hair color machine." Through that, the writer, in several occasions, on several like that, fun and humor is also included. Anyway, uh, the writer speaks of various issues, the thing economy, and also yes, languages, and also Hippocratic politicians. He, through this writer, criticizes Gandhi family also. Indira Gandhi married the foreigner Farsi, hers, but her father was a patriot. They anti-European men, independent struggle pioneers, leaders, but daughter married Farsi. Yes, he's called Florence Gandhi. And after that, Indira's son, Indira Gandhi's son, Rajiv Gandhi. Rajiv Gandhi married Italian, Sonia. Therefore, the writer criticizes that things also. Then, patriotism and religious affection, those things are very false ideas according to the writer. Writer wants to say that all these things are man-made things. Finally, what happened that innocent girl from India sorry, America, who coming to India has to die in vain because India is not a country suitable for such people. Yes, on several occasions, Shankar Das, the director of yes, Help US NGO, emphasizes not to deal with low caste riffraff there, but she does. Yes, because of the stubborn situation, behavior, she has to, yes, embrace death in India. She has been stabbed 16 times, so we come to know that that happens due to thought. Uh, Whoever the killer is, yes, it has been done purposely. That the death is hidden as riot related killing, but we come to know that it's not riot related killing. There's a purpose around it. I think that you have some idea about Shashi Tharoor's yes, novel Riot. Actually, riots in many places.